Every single year we watch the draft, we celebrate the shiny new toys, but we forget where the real soul of this franchise is built. In New Orleans, we don't just build teams, we find diamonds in the absolute mud. Think about Juwan Johnson. Think about Carl Granderson, guys who heard 32 teams pass on them only to come to the Big Easy and write their own legacies. This is the ultimate underdog story. And as OTAs kick off this Wednesday, May 27th under Kellen Moore, the front office is looking for that next undrafted savior. There are 3 massive wildcards entering camp right now who have a legitimate, hard-nosed path to making this 53-man roster. Before we dive into the film and break down these 3 hidden gems, do me a massive favor. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, help us reach our goal of 2,000 subscribers, and tell me in the comments, who is your sleeper pick this year? Who dat? Let's start in the trenches where everything is won or lost. If you want to talk about an absolute steal, look no further than offensive tackle Alan Herron out of Maryland. At 6'5" and 320 pounds, it is a flat-out crime that this kid didn't hear his name called on draft weekend. He is slightly shorter than your textbook, prototypical NFL tackle, sure, but his college resume speaks for itself. We are talking about an absolute Iron Man. This is a guy who transferred to Maryland from Division II Shorter University in Rome, Georgia. And yes, that is a real school, and didn't skip a single beat. Herron started all 24 games at right tackle for the Terrapins. Go back to his sophomore and freshman seasons at Shorter, and he started every single game there too. In fact, he hasn't missed a single game since he was in high school. That is the kind of availability and durability that coaches dream about. He was an honorable mention All-Big Ten selection last year, a team captain, and he finished with the highest GPA on his entire college squad. Oh, and athletic? He posted the 10th highest combine score for athleticism among all offensive linemen. Given the Saints' glaring, painful lack of depth on the offensive line right now, Herron isn't just a guy to watch at OTAs. It would be a genuine shock if he doesn't at least lock down a practice squad spot, with a very real chance of forcing his way onto the active roster. Keep your eyes locked on number 70-something, because Herron plays with the kind of chip on his shoulder that defines New Orleans football. Now, let's pivot to the defensive side of the ball, where the Saints might have just grabbed an absolute monster with a massive asterisk. Think about a guy with legitimate Day 2 talent, a 2nd or 3rd round physical specimen who somehow fell completely through the cracks. Enter Javian Harris, the defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. We are talking about a mountain of a man at 6'8" and 330 pounds. On pure tape alone, Harris is a dominant force. But the NFL is a business that demands accountability, and his off-field issues are the sole reason he went undrafted. He was charged with domestic violence in August of 2024, and just 13 months before that, he was arrested for a DUI and felony fleeing. That is a heavy burden to carry into an NFL locker room. On top of that, he had surgery on his right foot right after the combine. Yet NFL.com still graded him as someone who will eventually become an average starter in this league. Look at the tape from his 52 games at Ole Miss since 2022. Last year alone, Harris racked up 9 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. And if you want to see what he does on the biggest stage, look at the college football playoff quarterfinals against Georgia. He dominated with 10 tackles, a sack, and a tackle for loss, helping push the Rebels into the semifinals. Yes, the Saints drafted Christian Miller in the 2nd round and have some decent depth inside, but you cannot teach 6'8" and 330 pounds of pure raw power. If Harris can keep his head down and prove he has matured, he has an undeniable path to this roster. This is where the narrative gets incredibly interesting. When you look at the history of the NFL, some of the greatest to ever do it didn't get that draft day phone call. Kurt Warner, Warren Moon, Tony Romo, they all had to scratch and claw their way from the very bottom. That is the mentality Kellen Moore is trying to inject into this offensive unit. We need guys who are willing to do the dirty work, the unglamorous jobs that win football games in December and January. That brings us to our 3rd undrafted rookie. And while we could have gone with an edge rusher like Michael Heldman or a fun media darling like wideout Brock Rechsteiner, we decided to look at this through a lens of pure logic. The New Orleans Saints desperately need physical, reliable depth in the running back room, perhaps more than anywhere else outside of the secondary. And that is where C.J. Donaldson enters the equation. Coming out of Ohio State and West Virginia, his career stats might not jump off the page or break your calculator, but he has the exact physical profile of an off-season surprise. At 6'2" and 230 pounds, Donaldson is an absolute truck. He gives this offense something it has desperately lacked: a legitimate bruising short yardage back who can run behind his pads and move the chains when it is 3rd and 1 with the game on the line. Over the past 3 seasons, he has found the end zone 34 times, including 11 touchdowns last year for the Buckeyes. He is the definition of a red zone weapon. When you look at his scouting report, the strengths jump out at you immediately. NFL.com describes him as a thick-framed back with outstanding touchdown production who runs with square pads and a deep downhill commitment. He leans and drives through contact to break tackles and consistently fall forward. Think about how many times last season we watched this offense stall out in short yardage situations. How many times did we need just 1 yard to keep a drive alive, only to get stuffed at the line of scrimmage? Donaldson is the antidote to that frustration. He doesn't dance in the backfield. He doesn't search for the sideline. He gets north and south, lowers his shoulder, and punishes defenders. During these upcoming OTAs, keep a very close eye on how Kellen Moore utilizes him in simulated goal line packages. If Donaldson can show that same downhill, violent running style against NFL-caliber defenders, he is going to make it very difficult for the coaching staff to cut him come late August. The Saints have always valued versatility and physicality in their backfield, and Donaldson fits that mold to a T. He has the size of a linebacker and the nose for the goal line that you simply cannot teach. It is all about opportunity, and in this system, the door is wide open for him to walk right through and claim a role on this offense. At the end of the day, this is what the NFL is all about. It is not just about the first-round picks who get the multi-million-dollar contracts and the media spotlight on draft night. It is about the guys who have to fight for every single rep in the sweltering Louisiana heat during OTAs and training camp. It is about guys like Alan Herron, Javian Harris, and CJ Donaldson, who are walking into Metairie with everything to prove and absolutely nothing to lose. They are chasing the ghosts of Juwan Johnson and Carl Granderson, trying to prove that pedigree doesn't dictate destiny in this league. This franchise has a rich history of turning undrafted free agents into household names and franchise pillars. The road is long, the odds are heavily stacked against them, and the margin for error is razor thin. But as the pads go on and the competition heats up, these are the battles that define the culture of the New Orleans Saints. This is where the grit is forged. Kellen Moore has a vision for this offense, and Dennis Allen knows that championship depth is built from the bottom of the roster up. So, as we head into Wednesday, keep your eyes on the guys without the draft pedigree. Watch the way they practice, watch the way they block, and watch how they compete when nobody is watching. These 3 young men have the talent, the drive, and the opportunity to be the next great undrafted success stories in New Orleans. The journey starts now, and we are going to be tracking every single step of the way. Let's see who has the heart to wear the black and gold.